beautiful souls. Welcome to Cosmo Muse Tarot and this week's mystery message, which is going to be from the heart. Mystery message from your heart. So the point of a mystery message is to really unearth something that's a little bit deeper under the surface than we have like real conscious access to, but maybe something we've been mining at or digging for. So really trying to unearth something that's meaningful and powerful and empowering. So something in that context this week is from the heart. So we've got 3 piles to choose from. Pile 1 is aragonite. Pile 2, we have flower agate. And pile 3 is a clear crystal quartz, which actually kind of has like sort of a heart shape, almost like if it were like a little bottle that was a heart with a lid or something, but it's just kind of a chunk of clear crystal quartz. Okay, if you feel called to more than one pile, that is just fine. But feel free to pause here to feel into these and see which pile or piles are drawing you in. When you're ready, timestamps for your readings will be in the descriptions, and I will see you in your readings. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your mystery reading from your heart. You guys are the aragonite pile, so I'm just going to put your stone over to the side here. And let's dive in. We're going to get a few oracle cards to get sort of the general theme of what the message is about, and then we will do a few tarot to go along with it, and then end with a kind of angelic message that's sort of based on purpose to really hit home, get to like the core of the heart intention. Okay, so we've got marshmallow with adversity. Interesting. And then from the Supra Oracle, we'll get a card as well. That one wants to come out. Sincerity. Beautiful. And then from the Priestesses of Light, let's see, let's take the top one. We have Sacred Gratitude, Reverent Appreciation, and Prayer. Okay. This definitely to me feels like your heart is bringing up some kind of message of wanting to find like a more graceful, or is graceful the word? Possibly a more graceful outlook on something that is filled with like a little bit of conflict right now, whether that's really broadly about certain ways you feel about things in the world, or some personal things, you know, more personal and things that are going on directly in your life. I think your heart is saying like it wants to find a more graceful perspective or a graceful way to hold something. I can't help but feel like this sincerity, there's almost like a hand, you know, it's not really a handshake, but it's like finding a touch point, right? To move some kind of adversity into some sort of appreciation, something more reverent, some kind of appreciation that is sincere, because the adversity is starting, maybe the adversity to your heart or some conflict to the barometer of your heart is starting to feel false or manufactured, or like looping, right? Like it's not going anywhere. It's just looping around and around. So like, where can we find a touch point? Where can we find sincere openings? See sincerity on the other side and show sincerity in, from me, that can really turn things upside down and really alter how something is being experienced or viewed or perceived. Like flipping it on its head and bringing some reverence to something, some beauty to something. But yeah, in general, like the message here is your heart looking for a way to find a more graceful and sincere way to hold a perspective, to bridge a perspective that may be tense right now, whether that's personal or kind of like a universal thing. Okay, so let's get a few tarot cards to see if we can get a little more detail about this, what your heart is trying to say. We've got Six of Swords. Yeah, your heart is saying it's like time to move on from something that's holding too much tension in life. Like the tension has become untenable. And there is something more beautiful on the horizon. There's some different way to hold life or hold a perspective that is coming from a very different place. At the extreme, it is just moving away from, like, removing yourself from a conflict or an adversary or some sort of adversity. It's time to find a new horizon. But in this particular Six of Swords, there is like this bridge, and that's what I felt like with this sincerity card. There is, I feel like there's a path through rather than away from. There's a way to get everyone onto a more sacred shore rather than a battle shore or something like that. Okay, let's get another card. But your heart is saying it's sort of done with some kind of adversity. Three of Spears, a different way, a totally different approach. This is flipping something on its head, but you would need to trust your heart to do something very different than what you've done. Probably in action rather than like words, like making some kind of move that is very different, but that opens up that path, to the bridge, that showcases that there is a different way to handle something. That's what it feels like. Something you can do to show that there's a very different way to handle something that doesn't keep things in gridlock. And then we've got Judgment. If you can get really quiet, like a trick with the heart is it needs us to be quiet to listen to it. It needs us to ask it questions and to be quiet again and listen to it, and ask it more questions and get really quiet again and listen to it. It already has, like your heart already has some kind of awakening that it wants you to take action on, that will bring a more, reverent and bridged forward movement rather than loops of adversity. if you feel like you know what I'm talking about with some kind of adversity, and you're like, I don't feel like my heart is saying that though, the Judgment and the Six of Swords could just also be saying it's time to wake up and move on. But I feel like the majority of you, this is saying there's some action you can take that would show a bridge building way, that would create a more reverent appreciation between factions or something, or yeah. But if you feel like you're listening to your heart and it's just like there isn't, it is just time to move on, and your heart will like already knows this. So whatever feels right to you, but I would take time to listen and communicate with your heart before really fully making that decision to just like remove yourself, right? Because I would hate for you to miss out on some awakening your heart has about a beautiful bridge building possibility. Okay, last message, getting down into some like core purpose here. Trust your feelings and dreams to guide your career path. So for a lot of you, this may have to do with career or public, like outer world. Like I sensed for a lot of people, this could relate to, you know, things like politics or, you know, bigger outer world things or career. If that doesn't match for you and you already kind of have a sense of what this is about, it's sort of like, you know, you can take that career thing out, and it's just like trust your feelings and dreams to guide you, right? It's like you need to trust yourself or trust your heart. Maybe what your heart is saying might be hard to imagine would create, you know, some kind of bridging effect or a more reverent or beautiful environment or whatever makes sense. It's sort of like, but trust, asking for trust though in your feelings and dreams. And that feels important, dreams. Sometimes dreams, that's like an inspiration or something, that it's introducing something different, new, that your imagination, you know, that you have to tap into imagination to even come up with. And to move something from dreams and imagination into action can sometimes take an act of courage. But your heart is saying, like, trust the feelings you have, though, about this. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave your guys' mystery message from your heart. I hope this resonated. Just get in there and listen, be quiet, ask it questions, because there's something that has a very kind of awakened sense of that it wants you to take action on and trust it in. All right, if this did resonate, I always appreciate support. Likes and shares and subscribes are great ways to do that. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And I wish you all the beauty and success with whatever your heart does lead you to do. All right, see you guys later. Hello, pile 2, my flower agate pile. We are going to put your stone just up sort of at this top right corner. And let's dive in to get this mystery message from your heart. We're going to do 3 oracle cards to get kind of the overarching energy of this message. And then we will do a few tarot cards to help further add context, and then we will end on a last card to bring home some purpose around it. Okay, and then we've got protection from the rowan tree. Let's get a Supra Oracle. Unconscious. And then a Priestess of Light. Portal. Infinite mind, awakening consciousness. Interesting. Okay. Definitely feel like your heart is saying that it's leading you into, like it's protecting you. It's leading you into a portal, into your unconscious, which sometimes can be scary to go into our unconscious. We can see a lot of things down there that have contribute to certain like habits and shadows and attitudes and whatever. But it's also a beautiful place that incubates new things that are trying to come to consciousness. So I do feel like your heart is trying to bridge your conscious and your unconscious to bring it. There's something in the unconscious it feels is ready to move into consciousness. And it's taking you into a portal, if you will trust it, into your unconscious to mine for that. And it will protect you, and you can ask for protection from it and from your guides. Yeah, because unconscious can feel can make us feel crazy, right? It can really shake us into seeing and perceiving ourselves and our lives in ways that initially can feel destabilizing, but it's just saying like, trust me, this is all for a beautiful upgrade in consciousness. You are protected in this. But yeah, your heart really wants you to walk into the unconscious with it, into your unconscious with it. This doesn't feel like collective unconscious. It feels like your specific unconscious. Okay, let's get some tarot cards to see maybe if we can get a little more information about what it's trying to bring out from unconscious into consciousness. 5 of Spears, your courage wants you to wake up to your strength, and that you do have courage, and that you are capable of creating strategy, and you are capable of going up against other courageous people or competitive things, or putting yourself into more, worldly affairs that require a certain kind of quality of creativity or leadership. I think your heart is saying like, I am so much stronger than you're allowing me to be. And so I need to take you into your unconscious to see like some patterns around where you are blocked, where you're blocking, where you're sabotaging your wits and your courage to take risks and your ability to consider yourself a leader and put yourself out there as a leader. There's something being blocked about this. 5 of Pentacles, and it's creating like a scarcity mindset, right? It's wait to flip this over for just a second. It's creating well, I mean, it's interesting. There's 2 5s here. On one hand, although there is something in your unconscious your heart wants to see where you've blocked or sabotaged your ability to present yourself and be courageous in being kind of like a power, a force in the world in some way. You have had protection while you have checked that, while something in your unconscious has been acting to block or sabotage something about your empowerment. You have had a lot of protection and you have gone through a lot of spiritual growth to the point where you've really leveled up your personal values. You've really found much deeper and much more spiritual personal values while you've maybe so it's not all for naught. I think there's some good that's come from having maybe checked some empowerment in the outer world, because you've really been mining your inner sense of worth and understanding of what you even value in life, and even getting in touch with preferences. Sometimes that 5 of Pentacles can really be speaking to our 5 senses, and those are the things that help us to perceive, but also to inform us of what our preferences are. And so like you're someone that maybe gave your power away because you were watching other and following other people's preferences. And so maybe this time of kind of like checking your power at the door and doing all this spiritual work, you've like gotten to a place where you've really gotten strong with and a deep understanding of what you value, what your preferences are, why they are, and a certain confidence in owning those. And I feel like your heart is like, okay, it's time. You've done that work. It's enough. You could go on and on and on with that, but you've done what you need to do now. Now it's time to check that deep inner work and re-pull out this external fight, this ability to stand in that new centering of deeply being connected to what you value and what you prefer, and how you can use that to create beauty in life, and how you can have a sense of creativity and leadership with that kind of vision. Okay, let's see your last card here. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. There's a shift taking place. That's so funny. I did feel that those, like, these are changing places. It's time to check the inner work at the door and start doing some outer work, is basically what's going on here. And your heart is taking you through a portal into your unconscious to help you make that wheel shift, to help you see where this is still blocked, what it needs help with in order to be released and come back out into kind of conscious activity and manifesting. But yeah, it's just saying it's time. The wheel is turning. It's a new season, and it's time to shift roles. It's time to start focusing on the external, because you've gotten at this point where you need to get to with some internal work, specifically around like an empowerment in leadership or creativity or strategy, something like that. Okay, last card. Let's get this spiritual purpose card to just drive it even further home, really pinpoint this a little more. Strength. Oh my gosh. Everything you've experienced in your life has made you strong and courageous. Yeah, so just confirming, like, you have the strength to do this. I'm laughing because heart and strength in like astrology at least could be synonymous. Heart in French I think is cœur, and that like C-O-U-E-R, I think, cœur, and that's where courage comes from. And so courage, strength, you know, and it literally says courageous on this card. So it's time to trust your heart. It knows that it's time to shift gears, to, you know, there's a season changing and it's trying to lead you to take advantage of that change of season, because the season is shifting from internal to external. And that probably will happen, you know, again at some point where you will have gotten to a certain point in some external courage, and you'll have to go back into working on some ways you've changed and really monitoring like your spiritual growth and working internally to kind of grapple with sort of some of the external growth you've had, right? But at this point, there's been a lot of internal growth and courage, and now it's time to shift gears with external growth and courage. But there's something in the unconscious that's sabotaging or blocking that your heart is wanting to take you into. It will protect you. Trust it. You have the strength to do it. It may feel a little destabilizing, but a shift in season is coming, so just go with it. So it is kind of exciting, I think. All right, if this resonated, I always appreciate support, likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments, but in general, just thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in future readings. Hello, beautiful pile 3. Welcome to your mystery message from your heart. You guys have this unique and cool clear crystal quartz, which I'm just going to put up in the right corner for you guys. Let's jump into this mystery message from your heart. I'm going to get a few oracle cards to get sort of the general jumping off point and communication from your heart, and then we'll do some tarot to get a little further, and then we'll end with like a spiritual purpose card to kind of bring it home. Okay, so see if I can get one of these to jump out. There we go. I think that top one jumped first. Okay, let's see what we've got. Repel with Kohash. Interesting. Okay, and then we're going to get a Supra card. Whoa, right off the top, this one wanted to fall out. Animisma. Oh, sorry, anima. I don't know why I said animisma. They're very different things. Okay, and then a Priestess of Light card. Loss, lack, fear, victimization. This is interesting. I just want to make sure with anima, I think that is the male looking, yeah. Well, I'll read this from the book since I've already opened it. Any woman is daunting to a man, yet within each man there is a woman they know and whom they invoke in spite of themselves. That female voice holds the creative, life-giving keys to their existence. Espoused to bring a happy balance to man from the beginning of time, this feminine voice allows man to summit the cosmos with logic wedded to intuitive, inspired thought. It is the internal feminine mirror that, when discovered with kindness, returns the glance with enduring, loving confidence. However, when misused or arrogantly dismissed and dangerously neglected, which, there's repel and loss, lack, fear, victimization, so I'm kind of keying into some of this. However, when misused or arrogantly dismissed and dangerously neglected, this voice instead becomes the lethal, spoiled creature of men's souls, gathering their thrones, stares, loves, and accomplishments, and throwing them away onto the memoryless ground of oblivion. Interesting. Okay, so what is your heart saying here? I am gonna get tarot out first. Actually, I feel like there's a lot going on with this. Like, your heart's already saying a lot, but I feel like I'm missing some keys to like bring it all into some kind of story, right? Or some kind of cohesive message. Got the Hanged Man. Okay. Nine of Spears. Yeah, that's reflecting. Okay. Pausing, reflecting, rethinking. Eight of Pentacles. I think you are currently integrating, like, I feel like you've been on a journey where the environment you have been in has been a little bit spiritually arid, like very, very, very masculine with very little feminine energy involved, whether that's at home, in friendships, at work, whatever makes sense to you, where there's been like more kind of competitive power playing, getting ahead at all costs, or just aggressive or something. So I feel like you've been kind of through a journey in some aspect of life around that kind of energy. And it can be exciting energy, especially kind of that like competitive atmosphere if you're, depending on what drives you or motivates you. But in the end, like the guidebook said with this anima, is like, if that feminine voice is not listened to and incorporated within us. So we all have, you could even call it just yin and yang. So if that yin quality, that dark, rich, nourishing, soul-making quality is not integrated or listened to or given some space to play a little bit, things do spoil. They, just like the cycle of a year comes with like growth phase, death phase, restoration phase, like nothing can just grow and grow and grow forever. And when we are only tapped into the yang quality or the more masculine quality, that's what it wants to do. It always wants to grow and grow and grow and grow. But eventually there's no depth to support that growth, and things fall apart, and there is loss, there is trauma, there is, like it then brings a lot of fears and conspiracies, and, just because that yin voice is like angry, it's going to be sabotaging things. So it can create horror movie type scenarios in our lives if we don't incorporate it and honor it and find it beautiful. It will, that darkness of the yin can either be very nourishing, very enriching, very deep, or it can be very terrifying. And so there can be victimization when either we are in environments where that yin has been devoid, or when we've shut that out in ourselves. There can be really strange things that happen. And so you may be coming off of a journey and reflecting, like I feel like you're out of that, but you're like reflecting on how did things happen? How did things get this way? where did this go wrong? And your heart is trying to communicate, and the hangman can be this thing of like needing to get out of your head to perceive and get perspective and into your heart. So this is literally calling out, getting out of your head, because it's trapped you in some rigid patterns and holding on to stubborn ways of thinking that need to change. But your heart, if you can turn upside down and allow your mind to let go of control and allow your heart to help you perceive life more, it can restore some balance. It can bring some rejuvenation and healing into things. It can and help you to recognize more specific ways for you, because it's going to be, this will make sense in different contexts for each of you, whether that's environment or your own self, and in what aspect of life is this about, so distinctly to each of you, your own hearts can help you to understand where this went wrong or how that happened, or even just be able to witness that in hindsight. Hindsight's 2020, right? So you're getting a good view right now, and your heart, if you can let go of your mind, can help you to see where something was broken in that balance between yin and yang. The healing it can lead you to will help you to know exactly what to repel in the future, because you now identify from go when this orientation is off, when there's complete spiritual aridity. It's like once you get into your heart to really understand this and reflect about it and integrate some understanding about this, you going forward will recognize that pattern before you ever enter a scenario again, or at least a similar category of scenario. And so this won't happen to you again, and I feel like that's something, or you won't be in some kind of position again, right? Is something your heart wants you to say, like it's so much stronger than you think it is in its healing capacity, in its ability to get over loss or fear or victimization. Like it can do it. And you will now know in the same kinds of contexts, you will be able to see where some wounded would be coming in for you immediately, and be able to steer clear immediately, like never even dip your toe in, because you just know immediately, like that boundary is going to be appropriately up and very, very strong. And likely these types of scenarios won't even come to you because there's already repellent there. And this is just saying that your heart is ready to get you to a place where you're working on things purposeful for your own life. Get you back into, like, that might be part of its healing, is just like getting back into working at things that are very purposeful to you, that hold a lot of meaning for you, gaining some skills and some practice and some mastery in things that you really enjoy, and that light you up, and that you have a natural inclination to want to grow in, because they're authentic to you. So there is maybe some kind of work association here, like maybe you got into a competitive scenario. If this doesn't work for you, it doesn't, but this is definitely coming through, like into some kind of work scenario where you worked and worked and worked, and it was like competitive, and you did well because you're competitive. But at the end of the day, you burned out, and you kind of look back and like, did I even enjoy what I was doing? or what I have been doing? Or was I just doing it out of like sportsmanship, or I was just got entrenched in the environment? Was this actually right for me, right? And now you're kind of like coming into a new perspective of like, and it may even be that like if this scenario works for you, or where it's around a work thing, where it's like, okay, there were obviously things that I did enjoy, or I wouldn't have really entered in the first place. It just became something that became tortured in the end though. But if I can strip it back to basics, what were those things that I did enjoy, and how can I take those and maybe build off of those in a different direction, in a way that actually suits me, actually feels good to me, that I find beauty in, that I enjoy. Enjoying something feels important here. Like, what do you actually enjoy in terms of what you practice and gain skill in? Your heart wants to take you in that direction. It may be doing totally different skills, or it may be taking some skills out of something that has now become I don't know, like a ghost of what it was, or just shattered from exhaustion, became brittle, right? But maybe there was something at the roots where things started out of a sense of love. It's like re-extracting those, but then building it back up in a way that, and in a direction and in a whole different quality, whole different direction, but taking aspects of doing what you did love, but doing it towards things that really light you up, that really give you joy, that really feel beautiful to you. Or just finding completely, like maybe you wake up to like, I always wanted to, be a police officer. I never ever chased that because of this reason and this reason, and whatever, and all of a sudden you're just like, why am I wasting my time? That's still this like core passion. I just need to go for it. Life is too short, right? I feel like your heart is saying here, like, life is too short to engage in giving so much time and energy to things that aren't nourishing anymore, that have lost their appeal. Things work until they don't, and you're learning lessons about recognizing that when something's no longer working, how to reconnect to your heart and pivot, right? So something along those lines. It feels work related, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, let's get your last card, sort of a spiritual purpose, see what comes up with this. And I'm reading these a little more metaphorically than literally, because they can. Some of them are a little more like abstract, but a lot of them are really specific. And I will make them more conceptual than specific if they go that way. This is more conceptual. Talk to your angels instead of worrying. Ask for divine guidance. Yeah. So this is your heart also saying, like, I have direct access to spiritual guidance, to your guides. I know them intimately, even if you don't feel like we do or you do. Like, I actually really do. And I can connect us to that if you'll trust me. Ask for help. Trust that your guides are there. And I definitely have heard it said that, like, our guides are there, but they can't interfere unless we ask them. So ask them for guidance, right? Or whatever it is. Maybe you need to have that conversation with your heart first, which requires getting really quiet to hear your heart, then asking it questions and getting quiet again, asking questions and getting quiet again. But there is an element of getting very still and quiet to be able to hear our heart's kind of voice. So maybe have some discussion with your heart and then decide what it is you're asking for guidance in or help in or whatever it is. But your heart is saying, like, it is there, I can help with that. I have access, we have access to that because I have access to it. I know this intimately, so please let us do that, right? Okay, I hope this made sense. Definitely kind of a tough message that came up, but something that I feel like the sensation I get from your heart is like, finally, you've woken up. Like, I have waited for so long for you to kick this shit to the curb. Finally. And so there is this relief from your heart, even though it's like exhausted. But it's like, but I'm fully capable of healing. And we're integrating a lot of really wise lessons. So it's not for naught. We've really grown up in whatever we've learned. And now we have certain BS radar detector and repellent. And this won't happen again. And we will heal. And we are going to start working on things we really love and that light us up. And we do have access to guides and guidance. Yeah, anyway, I'm just repeating it all, but it just felt important to do so. So anyway, if this resonated, I always appreciate support with likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And I hope to see you guys in future readings.